In this video, we're going to talk about the tidyverse. So the first question is kind of what is the tidyverse? The tidyverse is an opinionated collection of R packages designed for data science. So really, there's nothing more to the tidyverse than just a whole bunch of different R packages, each which do different things. But they're unified together in a way that makes them work really nicely together because they're designed to go together. First, they try to follow the principle that code should be as clear as possible. They focus on the readability or the expressibility of the code over speed. The basic idea is that we really want to know and to be sure exactly at each step of our data analysis exactly what is being done. We don't necessarily need to know how those computations are being performed, but clarity here is key. Finding a bug somewhere down the line in a data analysis is a terrible experience, which at best will slow down your analysis. Lastly, when you code according to the tidyverse, it has a kind of language feel. Functions are verbs, usually they are named with actual verbs, and objects and datasets are nouns. All packages share an underlying philosophy and common APIs. The basic idea here is that the arguments to functions are consistent across different functions in different tidyverse packages. So it makes it cognitively easier to reason about how a function is going to operate even when you've never used the function before. Of course, the tidyverse wasn't all created at once. It began really with ggplot2. That was the first package that we now know of as part of the tidyverse. And over time, other packages came as well. For example, we're going to meet dplyr in a little bit. That was an early package, and lubridate, which was another early package. But now there are many, many different packages like this that help with different data analysis tasks. And we'll look at those in just a minute. As overarching themes, the tidyverse has to do with tidy data, tidy modeling, and tidy evaluation. You may be surprised to learn that these are generally actually technical terms. So for example, tidy data has a definition to it. It doesn't just mean generally clean data. We won't go into the technical definitions, we'll just try to focus on how do you use these technologies. Now, there's also a package actually called the tidyverse, and the function of the package called the tidyverse is actually just to load a whole bunch of different packages. So if you want to install all of the packages in the tidyverse, the place that you want to start is just installing a package called tidyverse, and you can do that with install.packages tidyverse. If you have the tidyverse already, it's constantly being updated, meaning the packages in it are constantly being updated. You can use this function called tidyverse update in the package to update all of your packages in the tidyverse. It will tell you exactly what to do when you run that function. Now, as a kind of small but broad overview of the tidyverse, here's a list of packages that you'll definitely see in the tidyverse. The first is ggplot2. You know that that has to do with data visualization. Next is Tibble. Tibble provides essentially better data frames called tibbles. We'll see this in just a minute. Next there is tidyr. Tidyr is used for reshaping and cleaning data. Reader, which is used for importing data into R. Purr is used for iterative computation, and it's used extensively in more advanced applications of the tidyverse. dplyr is the tidyverse's flagship package for data manipulation in R. We're going to see a lot of dplyr in just a little bit because it's so useful. Stringer is used for processing text. So for example, if you're trying to analyze Twitter data or something like that, you would use Stringer. And forcats is used for factor manipulation. We've met factor variables in the past. They're somewhat awkward to work with in base R, so forcats facilitates that process. Together, these constitute what's referred to as the core tidyverse packages. Whenever you load the tidyverse library itself, it loads all of those packages. But there are other tidyverse packages as well. For example, we've already met lubridate. Lubridate facilitates working with dates and times in R, and there's a package called glue that facilitates the creation of strings. There are also other packages that are said to be tidyverse adjacent, like HTTR, pronounced hitter, and rvest. These are used for scraping data from the internet. Again, we're only going to scratch the surface with these. If you're interested in more information, I'd recommend you go to that book, R for Data Science by Wickham and Groleman. It's online for free, or you can buy the paperback version for a really modest price. The last thing you need to know about the tidyverse is that it's constantly evolving. So the developers realize that some functions are not so useful, or they want to change them in a particular way. It's very common to see these lifecycle badges associated with different functions in the tidyverse, and they communicate to users how stable a particular function is. For example, is the function kind of on its way out and you shouldn't use it? Or is it relatively new and they're still trying to figure out exactly how it should work? What's the easiest way to use it, and so on. So when you see those badges, now you know what they're about. Try to stay away from things that are questioning or retired or dormant. And in general, I won't be teaching those, so you really don't have to worry about it too much. In any case, these are the tidyverse packages. Let's go to the next video and learn about the pipe operator.